Folks, welcome to my session here. So this is the ongoing series that we've been doing for quite some time now, JavaScript for Beginners. Now today, before I start, I was advised to put an About Me section. So I put a nice photo of me, Professor, there at a new site. It wasn't there before. Like I got some feedback, like, usually when you're a presenter, people should know who I am. So there you go, guys. This is
Yes.
me. Again, you can just Google my name if you want. So I've been coding since 2000. I'm 40 now. So there you go. I've been coding for 20 years now. I started very young. And then I've been tutoring since 2012. I have a award from Microsoft. I recently got certified in AZ 900. And again, just Google my name. And I've been teaching sessions for AIU since 2023. I think it's 2022, but to be on the safer side, I
Yes.
put it as 2023
Yes.
because I think it was December or January. I'm not sure, so I'm gonna put it as 2023. It's still a long duration though. So yeah, you got my website there. You can make a note, and that's my GitHub, which is much more important because we are coders here. So today it is session number 9, and what we are going to do is till now, like I have been walking you through the core concepts of programming, and that will keep going till we reach a point where we are building applications. However, now when I started this series, I did not really estimate or imagine how intelligent this AI would become. Like when these sessions started, AI was just like a footnote, even for me, with my clients and everybody. It was like a cool thing. Okay, something nice, something innovative. Okay, but in this when we start the session, and now at this stage, I've realized I have started really incorporating AI into every aspect of my life. Like even for example, emails. Most of my emails, well, at least business emails, they're being written by AI. I rarely type emails anymore unless it's a
Mhm.
personal thing, in which case, obviously, I will type it by hand. But otherwise, 90% of my emails are being replied by AI. A lot of conversations and engaging discussions is happening with AI. Obviously, a lot of work is also happening with AI. So I realized, okay, we are doing programming, and AI is fundamentally altering the way I do my work. Now, you guys know already, those of you who follow me on GitHub and YouTube and all, I do a lot of my work as a consultant developer for clients. Teaching is something I do like maybe 20-30% of the time. Rest of the time, the money and all it comes from developer projects. So what's happening, my dear friends, is from my experience, we are really getting work done. Like if something takes 10 hours, 20 hours, we are able to finish off that work in 2 hours or 4 hours. And a lot of routine things are being automated or sped up by AI. So what I decided was, the previous session we were doing ES6, session number 8, that was part 1. So there'll be part 2, there'll be part 3 because ES6 is so big. But then it occurred to me that yes, after ES6, we're going to start building projects. So we are almost at the end of I would say, the first 30% of our plan here. Before we start the next 30% and eventually start building things, you gotta know about AI. I do talk about it, but I never made a session about it. So today, my friends, um, I'm going to take you through all the tools I use, right? And this is getting recorded, so you can watch it again and again. As always, you have a community and everything. So today, I'm going to show you from experience. This is like not just a session. Like everything I teach you is from experience. How you have to use AI and how I use on a daily basis. So as always, I have in one sheet that I've prepared. Professor, let me go ahead and send that to you. Now, please remember, Zoom chat gets over the moment the session is over. So I'm going to send this document now. I'll also send it again at the end of the session, but please grab it right away before it goes away. I'm sending the one sheet. Professor, can you confirm that document is showing up on the chat box, sir? Because if you get it, everybody else gets it as well.
Definitely. It is there. I can see it.
Very good, folks. So let me quickly open that, because that document contains so much information. Every session, every week, I make sure I go ahead and update the document. Right now, this document is always quickly, you'll see all the essential links about me, about all the stuff we're doing, the YouTube and everything. And of course, whatever we are talking, like today's session, it's Copilot. There you go. So there is a dedicated section with key points, everything there for you. And of course, if you scroll down the previous session, the previous session, the previous session.
Mhm.
So this is like a summary of everything we are teaching with links for demos and everything. So please make a copy of it. It'll go away after the session gets over. So download it right away. So coming back to that document I've shared with you. So what is this AI that I use. Now, I personally use this brand. Now, first, I'm going to give you some theory, of course, and after a while, we'll jump into some demo and I'll show you how I'm using AI. So, first step is GitHub Copilot. Okay, now this is something. Now, there are many different brands of AI today. Different companies, different models, and all that. Because I am, as you saw in the beginning of the slide, I'm very much a Microsoft guy. The MVP award, the Microsoft certifications, and all that. I've been a Microsoft guy all my life. Simply because Microsoft has a very organized and standardized way of doing things. So when it comes to AI, I trust Microsoft products. I've been trusting their products for my life, my livelihood, my career, everything from Microsoft. I'm teaching you on a Windows PC, so I trust Microsoft. So this is GitHub Copilot is from. Let me quickly open my GitHub here. Now, GitHub, the website that I keep showing you every session, is of course part of Microsoft. It is owned by Microsoft. So GitHub Copilot is the brand of AI which is provided by GitHub, owned by Microsoft. So this is essentially a Microsoft product. That is one of the big reasons why I choose GitHub Copilot. Now you can use some other brand, like for example, you have another brand. Like obviously, OpenAI is there. There are other brands like Cursor AI. There are so many other brands and vendors, but I choose this one because one, it's from Microsoft, and second thing is, this is kind of developed with collaboration with OpenAI, and it is very much dedicated to coding. That is one another reason why I tell folks, you can obviously you can use ChatGPT, which is also from OpenAI, or you can use that also will help you with coding, but this one is dedicated, like specialized, right? Like for example, when I'm talking to you, when I'm speaking to you, like I have a camera here for my PC as well, but whenever I do a session, I join from my iPad because the iPad has good camera. Like when I move, the camera will also move. When I move, the camera will also move. So it makes sense to do the sessions on iPad because that is designed for video sessions, right? Similarly, if you're going to be coding, you want to use a coding AI, not just any AI. So that is another reason why I really recommend that we use GitHub Copilot. Now, there are different ways the GitHub Copilot works, and you'll see that in the demo. But before I go there are two main ways you can use GitHub Copilot. First, you will be able to chat with it. I'll do the chat session, after the theory part is over. So you can chat with AI, just like you chat with ChatGPT or any other AI service. That is option number one. The another way we do things is by using VS Code. You remember every session, whenever I do something, I always use VS Code in my classes. That is the recommended ID and all that. So here also, whenever we have a project, you can see here. Now, if I go, I'll do the demo at the end of the session, just showing you. So you see that, there you go. There it is. The AI chat is on the right side. Are you able to see that, Professor? There's the chat window which just came up. There you go. So there are two ways you can interact with GitHub Copilot. One, you can chat with it directly on the github.com website. You can see here, like I use it almost every day. Every day I'm doing things every day. I'm working for clients, I'm preparing stuff for this session, future sessions, and of course I myself am learning new things all the time. You can see that I'm using it all on a daily basis. So these are all conversations, and there is, of course, you can interact with it directly here, and you can see there are some things happening there. Just don't worry about that. So there are two ways you can interact with GitHub Copilot, and it also has some additional features which we'll see in the demonstration part of the session. So what are the main features that we are talking about GitHub Copilot? I'm going to go through it one by one, and then I'll give you an example how it works. Now, the first thing is code completion. Now, what does that code completion really mean? So code completion really means, okay, like as you're typing, the like how, like if you're chatting or something on your phone, for example, this does happen on my iPhone. I don't know if it happens on Android or something, and I'm chatting something, the iPhone will try to finish my sentences, or when I'm writing an email, the AI will finish the sentence for me. So, and I can choose to let the AI finish the sentence, or in Google, like Google, if you try start searching for something, Google will show you the rest of the sentence. So that is called sentence completion. So here, because this is mainly for coding, so as you're typing your code, you'll see in the demo as well, the code will be completed for you. Sometimes the code completion is like an entire function or just one line or variable. So either way, that will save you a lot of typing, and it will help you by making less mistakes, because when you're typing everything yourself, you can make mistakes, but when the AI is typing it, it will make less mistakes. Let's not be under the impression that AI will do everything for you. No, 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 you still are in control. You have to choose if something is right or not. You still need that knowledge, but it will complete things for you, and you can choose to keep it or reject it and type your own code. So most of the time AI is correct. Sometimes when it is wrong, that's up to you to decide and not take it. So code generation. Now code generation is when you don't know what you're typing, or you have an idea what you have to do, and then you simply ask the AI to generate the code for you. Now that is similar to code completion. The difference is, in code completion you are like doing some of it and rest of it is done by AI, but code generation is where you are literally asking the AI to generate everything, and then you can either keep the code given to you entirely, or you can use it as a reference, or maybe copy paste the relevant sections and then ignore the remaining things. So that is code generation. They're both similar, in my head I think they're similar, but still, there is a difference though, right? Okay, so context awareness. Now this is where I am really, how would I say, very, very impressed. And this is one of the key reasons. Context awareness is the reason why I decided to include this session in the middle of our series before we start building projects. Now, what does context awareness mean? As always, let me open up my Paint software. I like to explain things. So the idea is like this. So let's say you are building a software, something simple like a calculator or something. So every project will have different files. So you have one file where you're writing, for code for addition. Let's say you have another file you're writing code for minus. Let's say you have another file you're writing code for multiplication, and you're writing code for division and all like that. So what happens is, the AI, as you're writing all this, so the AI will be watching, observing your project, and it starts understanding, it begins to understand what you are trying to do, right? No context. Context means you are aware of what is happening around you. It's like, for example, let's say, like I make it a point, once in a week I go to a temple. So, like when you are inside the temple, you switch off your phone, you don't shout or anything like that, and you have to be quiet, you have to remove your footwear. So, because, that's the situation, that's the scenario, you have to behave the way you are expected to behave as per the situation, and accordingly act as a person. Similarly, now what is happening, like the AI has reached a point where, as you're working on a project, it begins to make notes, mentally it starts understanding what you're doing, and then based on that, it'll suggest, new code. It'll suggest what else you can do. It'll suggest what you're doing wrong. That is so important. One of the most fascinating things for me whenever I'm coding with AI is that, even though I'm coding since 2020, like now it is 2025, I'm 40 years old. So I started coding when I was 15 years old. So every day, every month, I'm doing different things, many things, always learning new things. And still, I don't know everything. How can I know everything? There's so much innovation happening. A lot of times I'll be coding something, and what I'll do is I'll simply ask the AI, what else can I do? Is there something I'm missing? Just randomly I'll ask AI, and the AI, because it knows the project I'm working, it knows the context, it is able to recommend what else I should do. To give you an example, it's like when you go on a vacation or something, like Mysore, that's where I am from. where I'm speaking to you from. It's like a city of palaces. We have many, many palaces in Mysore. Our city is really old. Our city was, like started some 1,500 years ago. We have a very, very long history. So we have so many palaces. We have big palaces. We have tiny palaces. We have small palaces. So many palaces. So what happens is when you're traveling, you Google or something, you only get the big palaces. But what about the small palaces? Your auto driver might tell you, somebody you met on the road might tell you, that is called context awareness. So the AI will start recommending things that you may not even know that you have to do. Now that is something which I'm really excited, and when I show you the demo, I'm sure you will be impressed as well. So that is called context awareness. And the next thing is obviously multi-language support. Now I, as an experienced coder and a teacher, like morning I was doing JavaScript. Here again I'm doing JavaScript. Yesterday I was doing .NET. Last week I was doing OpenAI project for a client that is like Python. And last month I was teaching C++ for another university student. So every, I'm freelancer, so I take different projects, and there are different languages. So the Copilot, GitHub Copilot, supports all the languages, all the major programming languages, which is very important, because especially me, because I'm working on different things, sometimes I'll forget the code, I'll forget the syntax, I'll type something and I'm making a mistake. I'll simply ask the AI, hey, you know what, I'm doing some Python right now. I'm literally asking, just normal English. I'm like, hey, I forgot how to do this, can you just show me? And a lot of time the AI will, because it knows what I'm doing, it'll give you the code exactly the way I want it. Now that is what is called as multi language support. And as I mentioned, learning from feedback. A lot of times, because of my experience, I will get some code either from code completion or code generation, and then I'll be like, this doesn't make sense. Something is wrong. Something is not right here. It's like you're talking to a friend or something, and you tell AI, like, hey, you know what? I think you made a mistake. And the AI will actually take your feedback and it'll try to, obviously it'll apologize and everything, which is fine, but it'll also try to correct itself, and then it'll give you the right answer. And if it can't give the right answer, that's okay. It'll remember that. And all these people every day, so many millions of developers all over the world are using AI. If the AI is making a mistake, a lot of developers are telling AI, hey, you're making this mistake, you're making this mistake. And all that information goes, and they're the people at the AI, like a research department or something, they'll fix it so that, next month or next week, that issue will get fixed. So that is what I'm talking about, learning from feedback. So it's not like it is only doing what it is today. As more people use it, it understands, like a real person, where is something going wrong. Okay, like today I added this welcome page. I didn't put it. Like one student, they told me, Jay, you know what, you should put an about me slide so people know who you are. So like that, I'm taking feedback, and I'm taking feedback, and accordingly I'm changing the way I do presentations. So same thing happens with AI. It takes your feedback and starts doing things. Now, what is the benefit though? Now, remember, I told you already. We just drink some water here. Hold on. Dr. Watson, sir, summer is officially here, Professor. It's getting hot in my sir, so I have to drink a lot of water, sir.
All right, that's fine. You are performing very,
Thank you.
very well. You deserve to have some
Thank you, thank you,
beverages.
sir. So yes, so there you go, guys. So benefits. Now this is what you really here for, because this service is not free. I gotta mention that it is $10 American. They don't have parity pricing. Parity pricing is where, depending on your country, the service price will be different. I'll give you an example. Like last week, this Sunday actually, I wrote the exam for the Microsoft certification. Now in the US, it's like 99 US dollars. If you write the exam in US, but if you write the same exam in India, it is about uh, 50 USD. So that
Mm.
is called parity pricing. So some things are parity pricing. Like exam fees, it's lower because I'm in India. If it's the US, it's expensive. Maybe in UK, it's even more expensive. That's called parity pricing. So there is no parity pricing for GitHub Copilot. I'm sorry about that. It's a flat $10 American. It doesn't matter where you are, you're still paying like Americans. So you can't escape that. So I got to mention that right away, because one thing which a lot of developers ask me is, oh, it's a paid service. I'm not going to use it. Okay, it's fine. It's ultimately like everything else. You got to decide whether it's worth your time or not. But I'm telling you how I use it, and then it's really up your call if you want to go for it. But like, as I mentioned, I spend $10. It helps me make so much more money. So cost profit analysis you got to do. So what are the benefits here? First thing is obviously increased productivity. Okay, now I want to show something here. Now, just this morning, okay, I built this. Okay, so one of my clients, they asked me to build it for an upcoming project. You'll see here it is a syllabus. Okay, there you go. So this is a professor. Like as I told you, sir, I do a lot of .NET things as well. So I built this syllabus to share with my clients. They asked me to build an entire syllabus. So all this stuff, right? And many of these topics I'm doing from childhood, so I know the code, and many of this is my own project. But some of these projects, like for example, professor, I had no idea what this Dapper is till
Mm-hmm.
last week. So what I did was I was able to go ahead, chat with AI. If I go to my GitHub, sir, here, somewhere here, I'm sure there is a, Dapper chat going on. There it is, sir. Improving .NET skills with Dapper. I sat down with AI. Look at all the conversations, sir. I just started asking questions. Give me this, give me that, give me this, give me that, give me this, give me that. And sir, less than 2 hours later, I was like a semi-expert in Dapper. Increased productivity. Like before AI, I had to Google it, I had to buy some book, I had to search online. I mean, I'll still become a semi-expert in a few days, but now it is a few hours. So that is what I'm talking about. Increased productivity. I am learning new things in a rate I would have never imagined in the olden days, Professor. I mean, I'm already fast. I'm not trying to show off. I'm naturally fast. But I was slowed down because in the older days you had to Google, buy books, and blah blah blah. But now it's right there in your fingertip. It's like magic, Professor. It's boom, 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 right? Increased productivity. Now, reduced errors. Now, this is something is a major roadblock for a lot of developers, especially newcomers. These sessions are made for you, right? First time developers. The series is called JavaScript for Beginnings for a reason. When you're new, whether it is coding or cycling or car driving or whatever it is, you will make a lot of mistakes, and that takes up a lot of time, and it affects your job rating, it affects your even pay. You might even get fired if you're making too many mistakes. Now that's another great thing about AI. So as you're typing, you get errors, and the AI automatically will give you suggestions on how to fix those errors. And I do make less errors, but I obviously make some errors as well. So before I used to spend maybe in a day, if I work for 6 hours, maybe 2 hours or 1 hour is spent on fixing errors. But now it's like 10 minutes flat. It's over. So there you go, reduce errors. Now learning it, now that's really what we're talking about here. Like today I told you I wanted to see this Dapper thing. I didn't know what it was. I went ahead, chatted with this AI thing. I learned it. I built the project. It's already online. It's already on. You see that 12 hours ago. Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, it was added 12 hours ago. It's not like it was even, yeah, just that 12 hours before I did this. So, boom, it's working. And I even showed this to the client. They're very happy with this. There you go. So, learning aid. So, whatever you're trying to learn, that's the story. And the best part is focus on logic. Now, I will be doing a session on logic with programming that is coming up after the ES6 sessions are over. But the main thing is, you got to make a note of this here. Um, Please understand, let me just get the paint here. Okay, let me just get a new whiteboard. Okay, now this is something every developer must understand. It is something I guess I understood when I was younger. Now, if you're solving a project coding problem, please understand that only about 10% of your job is actual coding. 90% is you figuring out how to solve the problem. Okay, please make a note of that. I'm going to repeat that again. As a developer, or in fact, any kind of job, okay, any kind of job, 90% of your effort, I'm not talking about time, even though time is a factor here, 90% of your mental effort will be spent solving the problem. It's only the remaining 10% of your effort 10% of your time spent is about coding. Okay. So what happens is AI will help you save this 10% of time, because if you're very good at coding, this 10% can be very small time. But if you're not good at coding, you spend a lot of time thinking, and again you spend another lot of time coding as well. Now, that is a problem that AI tries to solve. So, if there's a problem that requires 10 hours of thinking and let's say 10 hours of coding, what AI does is you still have to think. Now, thinking cannot be changed by AI, that is still your responsibility. But the coding, let's say if it takes 10 hours, thanks to AI, you could finish it in 1 hour. Like I did with my own example. Now, normally, the Dapper thing would have taken maybe 10 hours for me to learn. I was able to wrap it up in a couple of hours. So I still have to think about Dapper. That still took me a few hours, but the coding part was wrapped up in a couple of hours. That's what we talk about when we say focus on logic. Now, a lot of times we talk about it, right? Like AI is coming, what's going to happen to developers? Nothing is going to happen to developers as long as you're focusing on being a logical developer. If you're just coding, 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 yeah, that is going to go away. That's going to happen with AI. So if you're going to focus on the logic part, you're still in business. If you're focusing on something else, then I have bad news for you, but we'll not get into that today. Anyway, so there you go. So these are the main things about how to get started. I'll do that in the demo anyway. So let me just make sure if there's any important steps, real life use cases. Yeah, I have to talk about this now. Where am I using it? I'll tell you from my own experience. One, every project. Remember how in every demo session, like in the year six session, I had some 10 projects. How am I able to write so many projects for every workshop? Easy. I've been sitting and hammering it out with AI. Like in the olden days, like last year, Professor Watson might remember, I would have one project for a session, maybe two, because I'm still spending so many hours to build it. But now in the same 10 hours of effort I dedicate for every AI session, I'm able to build 10 projects. So that's your real world scenario. So I'm able to use AI to make this session better for you guys, right? So there you go. That's the simple use case. Second thing, projects. When I work for a client project, big project, guys, with 50 files, 100 files, thousands and thousands of lines. Again, we are able to use AI to do things fast, fix errors, learn new things, add new features, real world scenario. So these are the two things I can tell you. So everything you're doing can be made better, and I just told you my own experience as well. So there you go, that's the real world use case. And also, I don't know if this is something which you do, but a lot of times, there's a reason why it is called co-pilot. Who is a co-pilot? You see movies, right? Like Top Gun Maverick or any movie with a pilot or something, there are always two guys. There's one guy in the front and there's usually another guy in the back, and that's how the fighter planes, many of them, work. There are two guys. So you are the pilot, the developer, and the AI is your co-pilot, your best friend. So a lot of times what happens is when I'm coding, I get stuck. I feel like asking someone. I ask the AI, and sometimes I get bored. I even ask for a joke, and I get a joke. So it is literally like a person. Uh, that's another use case for you. So as I mentioned already, the AI takes a lot of feedback from you and keeps improving, keeps improving. So there you go, guys. So this is really the end of the theory part. So I'm going to show you how I use it. But before I go forward, Professor, any specific question before I do the usual demo that I do on the second part of the presentation? So any question that stands out for you from your end? Of course, we'll take session at the end of the session as well, sir. But before I go to the demo, anything from you?
Personally, I'm doing just fine. I'm following you very, very closely. As far as the students are concerned, I mean, the students or the participants, I would definitely prefer that we wait until the end for questions, so not to interrupt the process or the flow of your
Okay.
presentation. So let's keep the questions for later on at the end.
Okay, all right, Professor. So, guys, this is again very important. Everything is getting recorded. So, remember, every session of mine is packed. It's like a compressed, heavy density thing. You got to watch it again and again and again, maybe in slow motion also, even though I do speak slowly most of the time. Now, two parts here. When you use AI, there is two things: conversation. Second thing is in VS Code. So first, let me start with the chatting part, and then I'll move on to the VS Code part. So you'll be using both of it when you are coding. So let's do that. So first, I'm going to go to my browser. Now this is GitHub. Okay. By this time, I'm going to assume all my students, even those who only attend once in a while, you have GitHub already. No excuse for it anymore. So you're going to go to your GitHub, and once you go to GitHub, there is a free version as well, so you can still try out what I'm showing you on the free version. It's not like it'll stop you, but once you cross the free limit, they'll ask you to pay. So you see here on the top right corner, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, Professor. Professor, do you see this like a cute gray pilot symbol, sir?
Yes.
Okay, there you go, guys. That's the Copilot. So as I mentioned, there are two ways you can interact with AI. One is the chatting thing in the browser. Second is VS Code. The first thing is the icon is right there. So I'm going to go back to the normal size. So go here, and you'll see there are a lot of options like open with and all that. What I do is I go directly to the immersive option. Once I do that, the entire chat window comes up. Very similar to your chat GPT window because it's the same engine really, but this is dedicated to coding. So you can see here, I've been using it very, very regularly. Okay. And then this is where I do. So here, the first thing is we have to start by asking the AI what we are looking for. But this is where something happens. Like whatever you type here, they are called prompts, prompts. Now, the thing is, the AI has a lot of information, but you have to ask exactly what you are looking for. That's very, very important, right? Now, there are two ways. There are many ways I use AI, but the first way is, let's say I want to learn something. I'm trying to learn something. I have some questions. So what I normally do is the first thing I'll say, I'll usually start by saying, hey, I do that because I want to make sure it's working. Sometimes the AI is down, so I just do a hey and wait for it to reply. Then what I do is I actually say what I'm trying to do. So I'll say something like, I'm learning about, let's say learning about something called DevOps, okay, in Azure. So I'm going to say, I'm learning about Azure DevOps. I'm a beginner and I have some questions. Now here, if you press enter right now, the AI will start giving you all kind of general information. Don't do that, right? So what you're going to do is, I'm going to shift. It's very important here. Press shift, press enter, not direct enter, shift enter. So you have another line. I'm going to tell the AI right now, don't reply, right? I'm asking the AI not to reply. Only tell me if you know about Azure DevOps. So what I'm doing here is I'm saying the AI like, hey, you know what? Don't just give me information. First step, tell me if you know about it. So this is how you ask the AI. So when I do this, the AI will simply say, hey, look at that. Very important. This is what I'm talking about. So before, don't just ask AI open questions because then you'll start typing some 2-3 pages of information. Don't do that. Tell the AI, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. So now I'm going to say, okay, I need information about the following things. And here you can actually type again, shift enter, very important, shift enter. I can't show it on video, so you have to remember it, shift enter. So what I'm going to do is tell me about history of Azure DevOps. Tell me any prerequisites about learning DevOps, and how does it what platforms does Azure DevOps work with? Even now, I'm not pressing enter. So this again something which I tell my students: make it as focused as possible. Don't just ask open questions and press enter. So here I'm going to say, also keep the answers short and don't give any coding examples right now, because normally AI, what happens when you ask a coding question, start typing a lot of code. Don't do that. Right now I'm just looking for information, just some theory. So there you go. I'll say yes. So now look at that. All I wanted was a quick introduction, short paragraphs. That's all I wanted. And now I have it. So make notes about this, guys. When you're talking with AI, it's very important. Remember that more specific question you ask, the more details you get. Now here, what I want to do is, it says here it works with .NET. So now I can say, okay, now give me I also say, okay, I heard about these two things. One is GitHub Actions and Azure DevOps. So another question is, okay, are they same? There is some confusion in my head. Give me a comparison chart, but keep it short. So now again, I will get a very, very simple table. You can see here, it's writing nicely on the screen. And now I know exactly what I want without too much information, just answer to the point coming up on the screen. So now in DevOps, we will actually be doing DevOps like at the very end of our series, but just giving you an idea. So there is Azure DevOps, there is GitHub Actions, and the AI is telling me, hey, this is how we can do it. These are the differences. It's very short and sweet, like a nice table. Now, if I want to, I can click here, I can copy it and put it in my notes and something, or I can just read it here. If I'm happy with what I have, I can close this and come back to the chat portion of it. So this is how you can learn about new things, asking questions. The more important thing is you can tell the AI to wait, okay, and the AI will wait till you type everything. So if you have 10 questions, ask the AI to wait, type all 10 questions. You can tell it to give detailed answers. If you want something a little bit more detailed, then I can say, okay, tell me about this one. So I can just copy this, give me a more detailed information about, there you go. So I can pick a topic and then ask it to give me a lot more information. So now it'll keep going and give me very, very detailed steps. So this is the way to do it. So ask AI what you want, one after another, and go details when you want. Now, this is item number one, which is you are trying to get some theory out of it. Now, what about projects? Now, how do we ask AI to do that? So that is the code generation we talked about. So let's do it right now. So now, because we are doing JavaScript, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here. Okay. Now, this is another mistake I see a lot of people do. Like if you're going to do something new, don't continue in the same chat. That will confuse the AI. Always come to the left side. You see here, start a new chat. And once again, set the context. So here you're going to say, okay, I am trying to do some vanilla JS. I'm looking for all three files, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Here I'm going to say, don't reply yet. Tell me if you understood that. So once again, I'm setting the context. The AI will be like, okay, I understood. What do you want? It's like a friend. So now I will say, we did bubble sort, remember, in one of the previous sessions. So I'm going to say, okay, the topic is bubble sort. Make it very colorful. Make it interactive. Give me all the three files now. So now it's ready. It knows what I want. And it'll give me all the three files. Do you see that, Professor? First, the HTML file is coming. Then the CSS file is coming. And it'll take a few seconds, sir. We got to wait for it. And then finally, the JavaScript will come. So now all I have to do is put it in a project. Now I'm doing this live. This is really live, dynamic. So let me go ahead and put it and run it myself. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to my desktop. Okay. And on my desktop, I'm going to create a new folder. AIU, AI Copilot, demo, February, it's 11th, 2025. Okay, I'm going to go inside and right click. I'll go to show more options and open with code. This is again something we've been doing all these sessions. So I'm going to just quickly do that. So I need three files. Three files are here. right? Index.html and all that. So I'm going to go ahead and create that right now. Okay, that's good. I'll come back here, Command A, Command C. Okay, there we go. That is done. Next, I want a file called style.css. I don't want to type it. I'll just copy paste it. So again, come back here, style.css, copy and paste. And finally, we need a script file. Again, there we go. And I'll come here and I'll say script.js. I'll come back here and I'll copy this and I'll put this. So now all the three files are ready. So I'm going to run it. Now this code is given by AI. I ask what I want. I go here. I use my preview option. And there it is. Professor, do you see that, sir? I asked for it to make it colorful. It's done that. It has to be interactive. So there's a button here called generate new array, which is cool. And I'm going to say do the bubble sort. And there you go. That's it, guys. Now, this makes my life easy because, as I said, instead of showing one project, I'm able to provide my students with 10 projects. Now, I still have to sit down and look at the code. I still have to understand what's happening. I still have to know what is going where. It doesn't replace you as a person. There are some students, especially newcomers, who will sometimes ask me, hey, does it not make you, the developer, be removed from the picture? Yes. Now, as I mentioned, the life of a developer is a combination of two things. There is the logic part and there is the coding part. So you might spend, say, 10 hours on thinking about the problem, and you say 10 hours on coding the problem. So now the expectation, now this is an expectation from your boss, from your clients, from everybody, is you still have to think. That is still your job. But now with AI, you cannot spend 10 hours coding something because now your boss, your clients, or yourself will expect everything to be done really, really fast. That is where the shift is happening thanks to AI. So if you're not using it, please understand your friend is using it. That is what happens, right? Like if, in college, I had a bike. Luckily, my friends didn't have a bike. So think of that for a second. Yeah, the money thing, let's keep it aside for a second. So which means I can roam around more. I can spend more time, with my female friends. I can go home faster. I can go home there. I can go here. I can go there. That's technology for you. So I have it. I'm able to get things done faster, but my friend doesn't have it. That will have consequences. The AI is like that. So if you're not using it, then somebody else is using it and they are getting where you are supposed to go faster. So that part, this part is going down, but the thinking part is will remain the same. And the cool thing is when you do this fast, now you can work on other things. So you can think more about these things. So that is what people say, increase productivity. So less time is being spent doing this, and now you have more time to think about solving the problem. So there you go, folks. That is how this is code generation. You're literally taking the code from AI and then generating the project, right? Now, since we are already in VS Code, that's the chat part. There are more things you can do with AI, but for me, this is where I am really benefiting. Asking specific questions, telling the AI to wait, think, and hold on to information. Now, another good thing is I was talking to a professor that I got this AZ 900 certificate. Professor, it's okay if I show that to the students, right? If it is kind of relevant.
Definitely,
Yes, sir.
definitely.
So, guys, just 2 days ago, I'm very happy about this, and I'm sure I'll do more of this. Let me just show you where did that go. Ah, there it is. Just yesterday. Now, you guys already know that I'm a Microsoft MVP from 2014. You know about this already. Now, yesterday I got this certificate. I'm planning to get more certificates. And again, the AI was so useful. Look at this. I've been chatting with AI about this exam. Look at the chat every day. I sit and study. I ask her, yeah, what is this? What is that? 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 I'm just learning, 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 learning. Look at this. Look at this. It goes on for many days, every day, every day. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't pass the exam without AI. I'm just saying it's right there. It's literally right there. It's $10. You go to a movie that is in India, it's $3. So you go to three movies, that's $10. Okay, I'll not go to movies. Fine. I don't know.
Congratulations again, by the way.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you. So look at this. You can chat, 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 and you know what? The AI remembers what you're doing. So when you go back to the chat, it's like, hey, did you do this? Oh, this is what you did last week. Okay, this is what you did. It's like a person. It's like a person. Okay. So that's first thing, asking questions, getting information. The next thing is, and after that, we'll open the floor for questions, is AI helping you in VS Code, right? So same project. I'll close this. Okay. You see here on the top left corner, there's a button called chat. I'll go here. There it is, same thing. And now, let's say this is a project I'm working on, no AI or anything. Just let's assume it's a project I built something or given to me by my client or something. And I'll simply ask the AI, can you tell me about the current projects? So this happens a lot. Like I don't know, like I join a new team, I join a new client, they have a project, I don't know what it is. So I'll ask the AI, hey, can you tell me about this project? And now what the AI does is it looks at all the files. Very useful, when you are joining a team, when you're new. Normally, what happens when you join a new project or a new company or anything, you spend so much time asking questions. Hey, what is this? What is that? How does this work? How does that work? Now, this is a simple project, only three files, but a real project will have hundreds of files. And that is another area where I find AI is like, hey, this file does this file does this file does this. And then once I understand, I can even say things like, hey, how can I improve this project? Give me some recommendations. So again, context. The AI knows this project, and the AI will recommend what all you can do. And look at that. It gave you 7 suggestions. And not only that, it will give you example code on how you can implement those suggestions, right? So there you go. That is what this does. It'll give you, then no, it says, hey, you can do like this. Then I'm going to say, okay, give me the JavaScript uh, updated file as well. And okay, there we go. It gives you recommendations and it also gives you the JavaScript file. Now, I don't know if it will work, but I'm going to try it anyway. So first step, I'll go here and I'll copy this. I'll put it here. Cool. I'll go here, script file. There we go. And let's try to run it again, see if there's any changes here. So I'm going to close the chat button. And then here I'm going to once again say preview. And there you go. There are some changes here, a little bit more interaction. So let's go ahead and open that in Firefox. Oh, it's already here. And then I'm going to say generate a new array and start. Now you see that it stopped working. That old code has stopped working. Now this is what I was talking about. So you can't completely trust AI. Luckily, I don't have to worry. It's fine. That didn't work out for me. I'll go back, Control Z. I'll go back, Control Z, and I get back the original project, and I'm back in action. So it's working fine. So I'm glad that happened. It makes me look a little stupid because it happened live, but I'm okay because I want to show you that you can't completely depend on AI. As a developer, you should also have the capacity to find out when something goes wrong and get back what was working, isn't it? Mistakes will always happen. What matters is whether it is coding or real life is how you can fix it. Yes, like even big companies make mistakes, but the important thing is how you can fix it. So there you go, folks. So there are two ways, how we can use AI. First is directly in VS Code. You just saw that. And obviously, a lot of action happens in chat. And I told you how I use it in my own personal life. Now, obviously, I've become a big, big fan of AI. You can see the excitement in my face. I can't hide it. When I see technology, I get excited. I get excited. I can't run away from it. So there you go, folks. That's what this is all about. And I need to give some time for questions and all. So I'm going to stop here. As always, don't forget that that PDF I sent you. Let me send it again to the chat before the session gets over because a lot of new people have joined since I started talking. Professor, let me just share that file again, sir, and then we can take some questions. 1 second.
Ah, all right. Thank you very much, Jay. Your job has proved truly outstanding. Very clear details. What we got from you was very solid theoretical foundation of GitHub Copilot, along with a significantly informative hands-on session with all those examples that you have provided relating to this topic of coding
Yes,
with
sir.
artificial intelligence. Very, very, very good job. The types of skills that anybody at this age should possess. Thank you
Yes, sir.
very much. Congratulations again. Ladies
Yes,
and
sir.
gentlemen, I hope you are of the same sentiment toward our specialist, Jay Bachahally Krishnan, Vijaya Simha, whom we may call Jay. And now the floor is open for questions that you may have. So go ahead, please ask questions. And one reminder is like Professor Jay has been telling you, as a matter of fact, since the very beginning, there are documents that he has posted on the chat box. And before we close the session, before those elements, those components are deleted or disappeared, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and grab them as we have the time. The floor is open again for your questions. If you are shy like me, don't want to ask questions directly, you may go to the chat box and input your questions in there. We are beginning with Sese Jules Haba. Let's go ahead, Sese.
Thank you very much. Okay, I still have no answer of my the error coding in the calculator project from my GitHub Moses 2019 platform. The response from Jay, from Sir Jay. Second question, uh, need I need to provide all JavaScript tags, object, method, built-in function, and trigger example. And the last question, common and different function, common and different function of copilot.
Sese, let me stop you right there, if you don't mind, please. If we have too many questions, that can be overly confusing for both our presenter and other attendees who need to benefit from your questions. So let allow Professor Jay to address the first issue that you raised.
Okay, it is in the chat
Uh,
box anyway. Yes.
yes, yes. So the main thing is, Moses, you see that I have replied, but you haven't. So whatever issues you have, you got to come here, my friend. Where you posted the question. My humble request is, I have replied. I've told you what to do, but there's no reply from you. So see, because you're having coding issue, my request is, if you can come back here and reply and say what happened, then I can keep following up until the issue
Yeah.
is resolved, if that makes sense, Professor.
Yes, I access now my GitHub, but I don't see
Not now, like after the session. My only request is, you posted a question. I have replied, but you haven't. So now the
Yes, I
ball is
have.
in your court. So
Yes,
when
I
you
haven't yet.
reply, I can respond there. Not here though. I can't solve coding questions here, if that makes sense.
Okay, that's very, very clear. I hope, Cece Jules, you understand. Whenever Professor J post reply some details to your questions, then it is your responsibility to go back and grab those elements in the system. All right, let's go to another question now on the chat box. Uh, the first one is from Dr. Sydney. I have recently signed up for DeepSeek. Am I able to use the same procedure, the same process to retrieve information? Professor J.
Right. The answer to that is very straightforward, Dr. Walson. I obviously am aware about DeepSeek. Guys, the DeepSeek thing is very similar to Chat GPT. It's like you have a car from Honda, you have a car from Mitsubishi, you have a
Mhm.
car from Ford.
Okay.
They're all different companies giving the same service. Now, if you want to, like how you can go to ChatGPT and ask coding questions, like how I was asking questions here. Now that you can do with any AI. Like, I mean, the same question you can ask to ChatGPT, you can ask to Cursor AI, you can ask to the DeepSeek, but you cannot do the VS Code thing, which is where the real magic happens. So you can do the chat thing, nobody's stopping you, but the real magic happens here. And as I mentioned, I'm like a Microsoft guy, so I tend to lean towards Microsoft products, but if you prefer DeepSeek, you have to wait till they give you this facility of using it inside VS Code. So if you want this, then right now, uh, Copilot is what I'm recommending. But if you're happy with only the chatting stuff, then you can use DeepSeek or ChatGPT or
All
Cursor
right.
AI or whatever brand you're using.
Very clear.
Yes.
Chimi, Eunice, it is your turn now. Chimi?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Unfortunately, I wasn't here, and this is one of my key classes. I just have one very quick and important question to Professor J. Is the question is, I had my GTOP set up 2002. Sorry, 2022. Unfortunately, I lost my access to my email with which I registered my GTOP. So I don't know. How could you help me retrieve that? Is there any way you can help me
Very
so
The
good
I can
solution
know
is
that I
question.
have
simple.
to
Just
contact you
create a new
inbox?
account. Forget about the old account. Let it go. Let it go. It's like an old friend who's not talking to you anymore. Leave it.
All
Just
right, I
create a
hope
new
you
one. Close
understand
enough.
that.
All what I've done is gone to waste.
It's okay. There's nothing you can do now if you don't have the email access. There's no way to recover it. So, it's like in high school, I had a best friend like every day for 6 years. But when I went to college, he disappeared. Now there's nothing I can do about it.
I love that
Okay, I
analogy.
guess so.
I
Thank you.
hope you get that, Jimmy. If you have a good friend of yours who speaks to you all the time, you interact almost daily, and then all of a sudden the friend disappears. They are other friends around whom you can mingle with. So forget about the past and just get something anew. Very beautiful analogy, like I was saying, Professor J. Che Amando. Che Amando, this is the door open to you. Go ahead, please. Che Amancho, not Amando. Che Amancho. I have turned your microphone on my end. If you don't do the same on your end, then the communications get not gonna appear. So let me quickly now go to the chat box. Bala Musa asks, I am a beginner. What are the first things to start using coding through Copilot?
Right, right. So the first thing you should actually do is, we have this is the ninth session. So first thing is to watch all the 8 sessions plus the PDF. That is where we should really start there, Professor. But the second thing is, as you start by learning how to ask questions to the AI. Like if you are learning, like for example, the previous session we did ES6. Now the topics are given in the PDF and also in the PowerPoint and also in the video. So let's say if I'm talking about variables, then the easiest thing to do is to go to the chat, open a new chat box, and you can say something like, I am learning about ES6 for the first time. And you can say, I need to know a little bit more about var and let. And then the AI will obviously give you some explanation, some example code, and stuff like that. And there you go. You can go deeper and deeper into learning each and every specific topic. Now, secondly, you will remember the PDF I shared with you. I hope you downloaded it. There is this course on Free Code Camp that I recommend all the time, which has 300 chapters designed for beginners. And I talk about this almost in every session. So you go to that syllabus and then you start asking questions about each and every chapter. And whichever chapter you're not able to understand, come back to the AI, ask like this. So if you're not understanding about war, ask about it. If you're not asking about let, ask about it. You're not getting arrays,
Yeah.
ask about it. But ultimately, the main thing is remember 20 hours per week.
Yes,
There's
that's
no
important.
escaping that.
Yes. You've
Okay,
got
like
to
this
try hard.
certification. Yeah, like I was literally like, even now, I'm now preparing for the next certification. Morning 2 hours, evening 4 hours. Learn, learn, learn. AI is just helping you. You are the person driving the truck. If you don't
Yes.
drive the truck,
It's
there's
not gonna
nothing because
move.
the AI is sitting with you.
Yes.
It's not driving the truck.
I hope you understand that Ki Ganga start driving the truck. But of course, I understand the point, the question being brought up by King Kanga Eliud. Uh, that participant is asking, it is my first time in AI or coding class. Where exactly can I start from? That is from King Kanga, Professor J.
Professor, the answer is like this, sir. Like you have the syllabus, you have our videos.
Okay.
As and when any topic you get stuck, you literally come here and ask the AI, tell me more about it. Very simple,
All
sir.
right.
So if you are
Very
not able to
simple.
understand functions, ask the AI, tell me about functions. You're not
Anything that
understanding
is,
variables.
you ask.
Yes, sir.
All right. I
Yes, sir.
love
Like how
that.
you would
That's
ask me,
beautiful.
instead of asking me, you're asking AI. So literally, sort of like, I don't know how to say this, Professor, but the demand for tutors is going down because of AI, and that's okay. I'm not complaining, but technology, yes, sir.
You make it easy, Professor J, for
Yes, sir.
all
Yes, sir.
our
So did I answer the
attendees
question,
to
sir? I hope I
grasp the
did.
concept. You did. You did.
Okay, 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 okay.
Columbus Ngerese, you might be the last questions for today. The session is getting gradually more interesting, but let's give a chance to Columbus Ngelese. Let's go ahead, Columbus.
I hope you are here.
I can, I can, I can.
Okay.
Okay. I was asking, and is GitHub Copilot different from the Copilot that we have? Like you have a computer and then it comes in the program and then you have Copilot. Is the GitHub different? And then can GitHub or Copilot be integrated in Python?
Professor Watson, please correct me if I'm wrong, sir. I think the
Well,
question is,
actually,
does
on my end, I was a little surprised when I heard you say yes. You heard, but on my end, I cannot hear. The sound is
Oh, okay, okay.
very
So I
muffled.
believe the
Cannot hear.
question is, does it work with help with Python? Then the answer is yes, sir. Of course, yes. Very simple, yes. It does work with Python as well, yes. I can show right now, sir. I can show it right now. I can say, can you give me the bubble sort code in both JavaScript and Python, and it will help me with any language. So all the major languages, Professor, no problem at all. This just
All
works.
right.
There is no limitation, Professor. I mean, these people have
Okay.
spent billions of dollars on this, So,
Yes. The last
so
question, as I announced, that's going to be with Olufemi Oluleye. That's the last question, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so sorry. We already run out of time. The last question, go ahead, Olulele.
Thank you very much, sir. My professor. Thank you, Professor J. Viajisamha. Thank you very much for excellent lecture. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Okay, my question is, what is the range of applicability of the GitHub Copilot? What I mean is, has it got a limitless range? Can it be applied, for example, in all kinds of fields, all kinds of fields of endeavor? For example,
We got it. We got it.
medical doctor.
That's a
Can a
very
medical
important
doctor,
question.
funny,
All right, Professor Jay.
Can a medical doctor
Well,
research in medicine? Can he use the GitHub Copilot as well as the engineer who is working on unmanned aerial vehicle?
We got
Also
you.
use it.
We got you, Olule, in different
Thank you.
fields.
Thank you, sir.
Professor Jay.
The answer is yes and no, Dr. Wilson. So the thing is, as long as it is related to computer science engineering and computer science related topics, yes, the answer is definitely yes. But at the same time, sir, a lot of times I have seen in very big projects, sometimes we work on, it is too many files for the AI to understand. And if the chat goes on for too long, like this one, sir, like this Azure thing I was talking about, a lot of times the AI would forget what I'm asking about or what I did a few days ago. So there is a limit on how much it can help and how much it can do. There is also limits on the knowledge level. Like if you're going too much into research and theory, the AI cannot help you, professor. Like let's say if you are a PhD student or something like that, it can give you surface level information, but anything more than that, you would still have to do the hard work and read the books and stuff like that. Now there are AIs just for that, professor. There are deep research AIs which are becoming available, but obviously they are much, much more expensive. So the answer is yes, the
And
AI
no.
can help you as a starting point, but after a certain point, you are on your own, my friend. So that's the best way I can put it.
All right. Ladies
Thank you
and
very much.
gentlemen, like I just said, it was the last question for today's session, as we have unfortunately run out of time. And I would, at the next opportunity, invite you or suggest or recommend that you be kind of proactive and get your questions out as soon as the presentation is over. Because we have that 1 hour allocated for the event. We definitely can not go further than that. We have, well, let me stop making additional comments, but I'm very, very thankful and grateful to each and every one of you. You took the time out of your busy schedule for mingling out with us, for joining Atlantic International University for this session. This is something that is at a premium. We thank you very, very much. And of course, we appreciate the time our presenter, Professor Jay, whom we want to congratulate again for the new achievement with Microsoft.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate what you've done, Professor, for doing your research, gathering all types of documents in the field of artificial intelligence that is gaining momentum and every single day nowadays, and coming up with this type of top-notch presentation for the family of Atlantic International University. Let me go back to you real quick at this time, Professor Jay, for your conclusion.